All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Berachah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Shipper Rabbi Knapp coming out with a lesson, Lord's will is edifying to the Lord's elect. We'll go into the news real quick, see what's popping in there, and then go into some precepts and keep it moving. It says South Carolina authorities are investigating a fire that engulfed the home of state circuit court judge. It's a big ass fire somewhere. You can see it. That's somebody's house, man. The circuit court judge, it says a blaze engulfed the South Carolina home of a state circuit court judge. What's a state circuit court judge? You know, these judges, judges goes into rulers. Shalom Alak Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah to Azaya Allah, Idaho. You know, these judges, they go into, these are some of your rulers. They make decisions, you know. And if their houses are being put on fire, you know, that's not a good sign. Let me see what this means, though. Look up. It says, whatever. And her husband, a former state senator, is under investigation. CNN affiliates, WCSBC, blah, blah, blah. Firefighters responded to fire at Edisto Beach in Carleton County on Saturday afternoon. The house is owned by Judge Deanne Goodstein. Oh, shit. Deanne Goodstein. Let me look her up. Judge Deanne Goodstein breaks. What's up with all these damn mad shit's popping up? Breaks silence after her $1.5 million mansion exploded in suspected arson attack. That's who that is. I wonder who she locked up. I wonder what she did, man. It says a massive inferno destroyed the $1.5 million beachfront home of South Carolina Circuit Court Judge Deanne Goodstein on Saturday morning. The blaze was so intense that her ex-husband, Arnold Goodstein, and two other family members had to be hospitalized. Goodstein's 4-bedroom, 4-bath, $200 million home stretching up a 3-story property on Edisto Beach was engulfed in flames around 11:30 a.m. Stunned neighbors looked on. Authorities have launched an investigation into the cause, while dramatic drone footage captured the inferno consuming the residents. And that makes me think of 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, man. This is the beginning of these things. Not too long ago, there was somebody jumped in. It was on the Passover. When Amalek was celebrating his Passover, someone hopped the gate. He got security and everything. Threw a Molotov cocktail into his living room and burned his whole living room while he was celebrating the Passat. So no one cares about, and I wonder why they did these things. You know, there's so much going on. It's hard to go back and follow the case, because something's going to happen today. How you doing today? Good morning. You know, it's always something, one thing after another. You know, so that just goes to show us that we ain't got that much time here, man. Because if your judges and rulers, if their houses are being burnt down, and it's not safe, man. Eventually they're gonna hide, depending on what's going down the pike, especially with the MOTB and this martial law and all these things. Who do you think they're gonna come after? They're gonna be going after their rulers. And I don't know the whole story, but you can see that clearly that's not a mistake. A $1.5 million home, she said it exploded. Okay, that was intentional. Okay. 2nd Esdras 15 verse 1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So we're speaking prophecy. It's prophetic that these things are going to happen in the end times. If you don't know that, that's why you got to read the Bible to get this wisdom. Second Edges 15 verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Incredulity means non-belief, and these imaginations that this place is going to last, and people going to speak against you, man. But hey, you got to be standing firm on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know, to a lot of people, this seems like this world is going to continue just like it always has, just like Ezekiel says in Ezekiel 12th chapter. But this is the time where the Lord is starting to speak. Okay? Let me grab that in Ezekiel 12. Ezekiel chapter 12 and verse, it's towards the end. I start at 26. Ezekiel 12 and verse 26. Again, the word of the Lord, Yahweh, came to me saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesieth of the times that are far off. Yeah, so you think the uproars of the people, the civil unrest and all that, that's for a long time to come. People have been talking about this for a long time. You know, even Ezekiel saying the same thing. Therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, there shall none of my words be prolonged anymore, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And we see that right now, that these words are starting to be done. Okay? When we see judges' homes being, this is not the first judge's home, nor is it going to be the last judge's home whose house is being destroyed. Okay? 2 Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. That's right. Let me look at this word perilous. You know, because looking into these words, our apostles and elders showed us that it really brings out, if you don't know these words, sometimes we think perilous, we know it sounds bad. So we just, but it's better to just go into the word. Full of danger or risk. That's what perilous means, man. You can go into the Greek, but it's full of dangers or risk. It's risky to go outside and try to get some food when there's no stores open. You know, it's risky when everyone got a sword, they shooting at each other, and you trying to navigate with your family. It's a dangerous time that's coming, and the elites are not going to be able to save you in that time. 2 Timothy 3 verse 2, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. That's right, man. There's going to be a lot of people who are not operating in the spirit of the Lord, man. Okay? And by them not operating in the spirit of the Lord, they're going to be doing some of these things, being a truce breaker. You said you weren't going to tell on me, man. You said you were my brother, you know. They're gonna switch up on you, man. They're not gonna be stable in that time, especially when it comes to not being. A lot of people ain't never had to suffer hunger and thirst, so that's gonna be new to a lot of people, man. A lot of other countries, they've been suffering these things for a long time, but when this happens on the American population, they're gonna be unstable. 2 Timothy 3 verse 4, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, and you see that now with social media. It shows that they're in that same type of spirit. 2 Timothy 3 verse 5, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. And we turning away from them now, man. Having a form of godliness, you think you're holier than thou, you think you go to church, you think you know the Lord, but you're not keeping his law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Okay, so you got to know, according to Malachi, the 3rd chapter, that you need to discern between who serveth the Lord and who serveth him not. 2 Peter 3 verse 3, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust. A scoffer is someone who's mocking the word. He don't want to hear the truth. He's pretty much a reprobate, or spiritually discerned, or a natural man, or the scriptures talk about a bunch of different things. You know, he ain't stable in his truth. Okay, he can't accept knowledge. He's a reprobate. 2 Peter 3 verse 4, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. That's right, man. And that's Israel talking like that, man. All things continue since the beginning of creation, man. No, it's not. No, it's not. Since the beginning. In the beginning, it was great, man. Okay? A lot of things has changed, even all the way back to the Roman Empire. A lot of people were ruling over us. But we tend to forget when we get a little bit of good happening to us, we tend to forget everything else that ever happened to us. And there's a scripture that talks about the affliction. There's no remembrance of, through affliction, there's no remembrance of prosperity. KJV, Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus 11 verse 25. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction. That's why when Esau treats you a little bit good, you think he's all right, man. You think you forget all the things that he's done before. Just like Jake, man. Jake tends to show himself by the things he says in what Peter was saying. And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. So when you're being afflicted, you ain't gonna think that there's gonna be a better and brighter day. So you're gonna go with the times, man. 2 Peter 3 verse 5. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. That's right, going back into the beginning. Whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished, because the Lord destroyed it. You know, because all of the wickedness, he didn't just destroy it just to clean the place. No, they were being wicked. And the only one he found to be righteous during that time was Noah and his family. So that speaks volumes of how wicked that place was in the old days, in the old times. 2 Peter 3 verse 7, but the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and the perdition of ungodly men. Now he's going to burn you, man. Now you're reserved under fire. And he ain't going to hit you with the water. He made a covenant. He's going to, just like he said. But the scriptures also talk about in Isaiah the 24th chapter that there's the earth shall rail to and fro like a drunkard. So there's going to be some tsunamis too. But he ain't going to flood the whole earth like he did before. Oh, you got the water, Malak. 2 Peter 3 verse 7, but the heavens and the earth, I read that. Ungodly men, man. People who ain't following the laws, they breaking the laws, man. They're not serving the Lord. Ecclesiastes, that's the spirit. Ecclesiastes 11 verse 25, in the day of prosperity, there's a forgetfulness of affliction, man. We got to remember these scriptures. Okay, we gotta believe in the promise and the hope. Keep our faith, man. To know there's a better time, the Lord's going to direct us through all these things. And in the day of affliction, there is no more remembrance of prosperity. That's the spirit. Genesis 6 and 5. And Yahweh saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And that's the same spirit that's in today. The majority of people in a evil mindset continuously. They're not looking to repent. They don't see the benefit of repenting. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. It's like Isaiah told us, man. We're living in a time where they put darkness for the light and light for darkness, bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. You know, or Job says where the darkness is as light. You know, this is the time that we living in, man. All right. 2 Ezra chapter 15 verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And that's what we saw where our house being destroyed, man. Okay, someone did that. That's a form of using a sword. When explosives, that's a form of using a sword. Plagues are coming. How you doing? Good morning. You too. Plagues, diseases, things are coming back. Okay. It says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So wickedness has exceedingly fulfilled the whole earth, man. So it's just constantly going out. Nothing but wickedness, no judgment. Lord's bringing judgment, but not at the scale. How you doing today? Not at the scale that he did before, but he's going to bring that same type of destruction with these thermonuclear missiles. Okay, just like it was in Genesis the 6th chapter, like Malak brought out. Oh, you grabbed it. Job chapter 5, Job chapter 15, verse 14. What is man? What that he should be clean, and he which is born of a woman, that he should be righteous. Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. How much more abominable and filthy is man which drinketh iniquity. You nigga looked at me like a demon too. Big ass truck. Let me read that again. Job 15:14. What is man that he should be clean, and he which is born of a woman that he should be righteous? He that is born of a woman that he should be righteous. You know, when you look at the book of Leviticus, we're fashioned into this sinful flesh. Job 15:15, I forgot what that was. Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. And that's the Most High, man. The heavens are not clean in his sight. And you can't commit any iniquity and be around the Lord, man. But he can still find fault in his saints, still find fault in his angels. How much more abominable and filthy is man which drinketh iniquity like water? Right, man. You drinking iniquity like water, man. You know, you're refreshed. You're refreshed with the wisdom of this world, man. That's a beautiful precept, Job 15:16. That was Satan, of course, man. Somebody was probably listening. He don't want you to get the word, man. Okay, this word's not for everybody. All right, but there's a certain level of wickedness in every single kingdom before the Lord destroys this place, and that's what you're seeing. It might start in the form of one judge. She might be a circuit court judge. I don't know. I wanted to look that up, but then that ad started popping up. I'm gonna try again though, to see what her position is here in Babylon. But Goldstein sounds like somebody I know that wears a small hat. What is a circuit court judge? A circuit court judge is a judge who presides over a circuit court, which handles significant civil and criminal cases. And in some jurisdictions, family law matters. In the U.S. federal system, circuit court judges are appointed for life by the president and confirmed by the Senate to hear appeals from district courts within a specific regional circuit. In state systems, the term circuit court refers to a court of general jurisdiction or a higher trial court. It says federal circuit court judges role. These judges are part of the U.S. Courts of Appeals, reviewing decisions made by the U.S. district courts within their designated federal circuit. You know, that's funny because, you know, I don't know too much, but it's funny how Donald Duck is he's not allowing certain judges that presided over his case when he got convicted of all those felonies to be in certain. I wonder if that was a strategic move, man. You might think it's some person that was, you know, didn't get his appeal or something, but in all actuality, it's deeper than that, man. Evidence needs to be destroyed. A whole house being exploded like that, man. The common person don't know how to destroy somebody's house like that, man. You know, it was a whole house on fire. And that's the times that we living in. That's what I'm trying to get into. This is what 2 Esdras 15 is talking about. 2 Esdras 15 and verse 7, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And that's why we constantly complaining to the Lord about this wicked-ass society, man. We want to see it get destroyed. Okay, we want to be saved. And wrath, remember mercy. Okay, because it doesn't make any sense for the place to be destroyed with you in it. That's why you want to be obedient. That's why you want to hasten the day, but at the same time, hope and pray that he has mercy on you. Okay, but they wickedly exercise themselves in wickedness. So if you exercise in something, you're making it stronger. You're exercising in wickedness. That's why we tell you to practice the righteous acts, keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. That's practicing righteousness. Let me grab that in Book of Judges, chapter 5, and verse 11. It says, they that are delivered from the noise of the archers in the places of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. Okay, so we're going to be delivered from the noise of the archers, which is talking about those thermonuclear missiles. This is a prophecy by Deborah. Okay, she's saying they're going to be delivered from the. She's singing a song here. They're going to be delivered from the noise of the archers in the land of drawing water. Drawing water is a form of slavery. Okay, the thermonuclear missiles are coming here in America. Who serves slavery at over here? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you're still serving slavery under the so-called white man. Esau, Edom, still to this day. Okay, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord. This is where we're practicing, you know, the righteous acts of being obedient to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. How you doing today? You got a question? Okay, you have a wonderful day though, brother. Okay. Even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Just like when we were in Israel, we were keeping the laws, we were following our customs. You know, we didn't have Yahweh Shai then. I'm thinking of during the Roman Empire, you know, but at the same time, we knew who we were. We still were practicing our laws, you know. Just before we knew who Yahweh Shai was, we were still following our laws, man. But this time, we didn't know who we were, according to Jeremiah 17:4. It's the first time where Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, forgot who you were, man. It's the only captivity. When you read about Israel, they were in captivity to the Moabites, which is the so-called Chinese man today. Pretty much everybody, the Philistines, every other nation, Ishmael, who else? I can't even, pretty much all these nations, man. And if we weren't directly enslaved by them, they benefited off of it, and they weren't, they were complacent, or they were for it. They were for it, man. And you might have forgot about that, but the Lord didn't kept Israel as the apple of his eye. So he gonna keep, if something's the apple of your eye, he gonna make sure that whoever did that to Israel is gonna pay for it. Okay? It's the book of, let me finish it. And it says, then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates. If you don't know about the gates, that's where judgment was issued, man. You read 2 Samuel, the 15th chapter, Absalom was taking people at the gate. He was making decisions there. Okay? There's a precept in Deuteronomy that tells you make judges and officers at the gates. That's where things were happening, man. We're gonna be going back to being judges and officers again. Okay, let me see if I can grab that. I think it's Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter. I haven't grabbed that in a while. Deuteronomy 18, and that might not be it. Deuteronomy 18, and that might not be it. But that's not it. Let me see if I can find it. You know what, Malak? Let me see it. I think I can find it. Make judges and officers at the gates. Deuteronomy 16 and 18. Deuteronomy 16. Deuteronomy 16 and verse 18. It says, judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. So that's what we're going to when we're delivered from the noise of the archers, where we were practicing where we were drawing water here in Babylon. Then we're going to go down to the gates, okay, going back to being judges and officers, and so we can practice putting these, what does it say at the end? Throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. Then we're going to judge the people, not just Israel, but the rest of the heathen nations. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 9. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, talking about his elect, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Because he said, the righteous crieth unto me continually. Okay? Just like Abel, when he died from Cain didn't get to pay for that, and Cain is the so-called white man. He's gonna pay for that death too. All the righteous blood that he spilled, he's gonna pay for it all. That's what the Lord's been patiently waiting for. Going all the way back to the serpent. I keep forgetting that he goes all the way, he's the serpent. He had an origin before Cain. That's how far back this thing goes. It's the book of Luke, chapter 18. Verse number, I'll start at the top. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying there was a city, a judge, which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, Yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And that's what we're doing with the Lord, man. We're wearying him out, talking about the abominations that be done in the midst of her, just like Just Lot. You see it every day, you feel it every day, you're always seeing it with your eyes, man, and it's tiresome, man, that the wicked exercising their wickedness, that they're proud and they don't see judgment coming, so they continue to do it. And we're telling the Lord about these things that we see down here on the earth, okay? Just like this unjust judge. She didn't even want to hear this widow constantly complaining to her about the injustice happening to her, and then she wanted to just do her right so she can get out of her face. Okay? It's the book of Luke, chapter 18, verse 6. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth. And a lot of people ain't going to have faith on the earth because they have faith in idols. And idols are going to fail you in that time. Scriptures talk about throwing your idols to the bats and the moles, because they're going to be worthless in that time. Okay, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 8 again. I will hold my tongue no more, touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cried unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. So now we know who the just are. Just are the elect. They're the ones crying about this place, man. And why wouldn't you be crying about this place? If you truly believed in the scriptures, you would know who you are, and you would know who this devil is, and you would want justice, especially not just for yourself, but everybody, all the just souls that passed away under the rulership of this devil and these other heathen nations. They need to be judged for it. We need justice. Okay? Because now we're at the point where Jake is just destroying himself. 2nd Ezra 15, verse number 9. And therefore, saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Yeah, he's going to receive unto him all the innocent blood from among them. Okay? Just like it says in Numbers, the 35th chapter. Numbers 35. The avenger of blood. That's who Yahweh Shai is. If you don't know these laws. Okay? Numbers 35. I'll start at Numbers 35. The laws regarding murder. I'll start at 10. Numbers 35 and 10. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come over Jordan into the land of Canaan, then ye shall appoint you cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the slayer may flee thither, which killeth any person at unawares. And they shall be unto you cities for refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer die not until he stand before the congregation in judgment. So what he's telling the children of Israel to make cities of refuge for people who are pretty much, they might have killed somebody unawares, by accident, but the family's mad about that, or the brother or whoever the avenger of the blood is, he gonna try to kill your ass. But you gotta give him a place where he can go until he can be judged properly, So that's what the city of refuge is to protect the slayer, the one who committed the murder, or to make sure that, you don't just go vendetta and kill him without any order. No, there's laws that are in place that keep society in order. And of these cities, Numbers 35 and 13, which ye shall give, 6 cities shall ye have for refuge. So he has plenty of ways to get into a refuge. And the slayer, if he goes into the refuge and slays him, he can be held accountable for that. So that keeps order. Okay? Ye shall give 3 cities on this side Jordan, and 3 cities shall ye give in the land of Canaan, which shall be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be a refuge, both for the children of Israel and for the stranger. and for the sojourner among them, that everyone that killeth any person unawares may flee thither. So if you're under the jurisdiction of Yasharallah, then it applies to you too. You got to keep our laws too. Just like if we're in your land, we got to keep your laws. Same with the heathen. You in occupied Israelite land, you got to keep our laws. Okay? And if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And that's what's supposed to happen to a murderer, not, you know, you bring him to court and then convict him and then spend a bunch of tax-paying dollars to keep him fed and clothed and sustained until he dies. No, he's supposed to get put to death. It tells you that in Genesis 9. In Genesis 9 verse 6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. So you ain't supposed to just be murdering, okay? Murdering comes with an intent. It's like an intentuous kill. Because if somebody's trying to rob you and you kill them, that's not murder. If you go into war and you kill somebody, that's not murder. If you robbing them and you kill them, that's murder. If you trying to steal something from them, you hate something he did, you know, that's not against the law, but you murder, that's murder, man. Okay? And when you go into Exodus the 20th chapter, it says, thou shalt not kill. But it's important that you go into the Hebrew to know that means murder. Okay? And then there's a time and place for everything according to Ecclesiastes the 3rd chapter, like in the time of war. Numbers 35 verse 15, verse 16. And if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And if he smite him with the throwing of stone, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. So if you throw a stone, hit him with an instrument of iron, like a sword, you're going to get put to death. Or if he smite him with an hand weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. So there's no getting around it. Trying to use different, oh, well, I didn't kill him like that. You know, I hit him with wood. It was accident. Nah, the way it's the intent. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. So this is the point. You know, the revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. If you die, maybe your brother, you kill somebody's, you know, it might be the revenger of blood. Like in our case, that all that righteous blood that was spilled, the Lord Yahweh Shai is he's the revenger of that blood. Okay, it's not for us to take it upon ourselves. Going into Numbers the 35th chapter, everything's decent and in order, even with judgment and justice, showing you that this Lord judged in righteous judgment, like it says in Revelation the 19th chapter. He judged righteously. Okay, they deserve this, man, but he's revenging a lot of blood, so it's going to require a lot of blood to revenge that blood that was spilled. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him, and that's what Yahweh Shai is going to do to Esau. He's going to slay him. Okay, he's the ultimate sword. You know, you read Ezekiel in 21 talking about that sword that's coming. Ultimately, that's the real slayer. The Lord is sending Yahweh Shai come slay Esau, Edom. But if he thrust him of hatred, or hurl at him by laying of weight that he die, or in enmity smite him with his hand that he die, he that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood shall slay the murderer when he meeteth him. And the Lord say he's not going to meet you as a man, and he's going to slay your ass too. They're talking about the Edomites. But if he thrust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying of weight, or with any stone wherewith a man may die, seeing them not, and cast it upon him, that he die, and was not his enemy, neither sought his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood according to these judgments. So if he didn't mean to do it, if it wasn't enmity, meaning like you didn't do it maliciously, maybe, you know, some form of an accident, right? And the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood. So we'll deliver the slayer, which is the person who committed the accidental murder or killing. They'll deliver him from the revenger of blood. Of course, the revenger of blood gonna want to put him to death, even if it's an accident. But there's laws that speak against that, and that's what this is talking about. And the congregation shall restore him to the city of his refuge, whether he was fled, and he shall abide in it until the death of the high priest, which was anointed with the holy oil. So the person at the time that was the high priest, when he dies, he can stay in that city of refuge until the death of the high priest that was anointed with the holy oil. Okay, meaning that slayer can't come in there and slay him, man. Okay. But if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge whither he was fled, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of the blood. Yeah, because he wasn't in the city of refuge. If you're outside of the border of the city of refuge, and the revenger of slayer see your ass and put your ass to death, hey, you're going to get put to death. And that law was also applied in 1 Kings, the 2nd chapter, with Solomon and that priest, showing you he even knew how to apply wisdom at a high level, man. That was a high level murder, man, or killing. It wasn't a murder. He got his ass out of the borders. Told his ass, I forgot his name. He told him, I told you to stay in Jerusalem. But he knew he wasn't going to do that, man. And ultimately it was the Lord when you read Proverbs 20 and 24. And David told him to do it to him too. So the Lord is a just power, man, showing you he's the one in the midst making all these things happen. That's why you want to make sure you got it right, man. Not, just going precept upon precept. If you got to read the whole chapter multiple times, man. There's a lot of meat in these scriptures, but the point's later on in the chapter. Numbers chapter 35, verse 26, but if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of the refuge, whither he was fled, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood. Yeah, so the revenger of blood won't be guilty in that sense, because he was outside of the borders. Because he should have remained in the city of his refuge until the death of the high priest, but after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his possession. So these things shall be for a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generation in all your dwellings. Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, but one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. So that's good, because you need more proof. You need mouth of 2 witnesses. And that's why we got 2 witnesses coming up against Esau, Edom, and that's why he's going to get judged by Yahweh Shah, which is the revenger of blood. Okay. Brain fog. So the northern and the southern kingdom are the 2 witnesses against Esau, Edom, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We out here prophesying against them, because ultimately he's guilty. He's guilty of the blood. We recognize who we are. We understand that now it's time for him to fall. Revelation 11 and 1, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar, and them that worship therein. So the reed unto a rod is this Bible and the standard of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We're measuring you to the with the wisdom, with the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, with the prophecies, and it says for the temple of God, because he's only dealing with his elect. Not everyone's gonna receive this word, man. If you don't get it, you outside of this thing. This word don't apply to you, but if you do receive it, it's because you're part of the temple. Okay? When you read Revelation, I think it's 22, it says outside are dogs, sorcerers, and things like that. This don't apply. This wisdom don't apply to you. You're not going to come into this truth. As a matter of fact, let me jump over there since I'm already here. Revelation 22. And shit, did I just drop something? I dropped numbers. Fuck, all right. Revelation 22 and verse number In verse number, I started at 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, which is this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that leads into eternal life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Okay, so this is the reed unto the rod that allows you to enter into the gates of the city. Okay, which is ultimately it's this wisdom. For without are dogs are heathen, and sorcerers and whoremongers, and murderers and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So that's the reason why you can't come into this truth, because you fall under one of those categories. Okay? Revelation 11:2, but the court which is without the temple leave out. And that's what this is talking about. Leave them out. The people who can't come into the truth, leave out. Like a dog or a sorcerer, like a heathen man. Okay? And measure it not, meaning don't give them this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They don't fit the criteria the Lord's looking for. They've been rejected. For it is given unto the Gentiles, which are the heathen nations, in the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. The 42 months represents a time of not having this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, going into the 350 years from 1969 to 1619, when the Northern Kingdom came here on slave ships, fulfilling Jeremiah 50:33, when Judah and Israel were oppressed together. Because it started with the Northern Kingdom, and then it happened with the Southern Kingdom. And now we're both over here in Babylon together. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, which represents the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom coming together under the banner of Yasharallah, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay, and we're calling out this devil for who he is, man. And they shall prophesy 1,203 days clothed in sackcloth. And that's what we're doing, being clothed in sackcloth. Okay, that's why we wear these garments. It's a form of mourning and repenting. Numbers 35 in verse 31. Moreover, ye shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall be surely put to death. And ye shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again to dwell in the land until the death of the priests. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So the person who shedded the blood defiled the land, and that blood can't be cleansed until his blood is shed. Just like Esau. Esau's blood needed to be shed for all the blood that he shed. That's the real retribution, to get back that he got to pay back. All the money and bullshit, the land, the 40 acres and a mule, that's not retribution in the eyes of the Lord. That's not, I forgot what Esau called it. I think he calls it retribution or something like that. Where you think you should get 40 acres and a mule. That's just nothing, man. Now, all the blood that you shed, you owe a lot of blood, Esau. You owe a lot of blood, man. Okay, Lord, and that's justice. But no, you don't want it so. That's why it's gonna continue to be wicked. All those murders he got, killing people in the street, pulling them over, killing them, getting away with it. All of that is being accumulated. Lord ain't forget any of that. Anything he did to an Israelite, he gonna pay for it double. Okay. Numbers 35 and verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Defile not therefore the land which ye shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for I the Lord dwell among the children of Israel. So there you go. I the Lord dwell among the children of Israel. And he defiled that holy blood, and he gonna have to pay for it. Okay? And now we got the two witnesses. 2nd Esdras chapter 15, in verse number 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Egypt's talking about America. Exodus 20:2 talks of, let me grab it. Tells you it's the house of bondage. Okay? In Revelation 11:8, if I continue to tell you that Sodom and Egypt, spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, which links up, this shows you, if you could receive it, that this is Egypt. Exodus 20:2, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And it tells you in Deuteronomy 28:68 that no man shall buy thee. Okay, so no one's gonna redeem us except the Lord. And he said he's not coming as a man. So it's all righteous, man. Everything he said is gonna come to pass exactly the way he said it was gonna happen. Okay. 2 Edges 15:11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Yeah, he's not talking about modern day Egypt. Okay? Modern day Egypt is not going to be destroyed, man. You know? But this place, America, is. Egypt's not such a significant place, you know, on the world stage. As a matter of fact, their politics are even kind of fucked up, man. They're still trying to build an alliance. They're trying to get the dragons of Arabia together. That's what they're trying to do, because Ishmael's over there. That's the land of Ham. So the wrong people are over there, first of all. Okay? So that's not talking about over there. It's talking about over here. Okay? 2 Edges 15:12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. Okay? So like I said, that's talking about America. This place is going to mourn. That's why it tells you in Lamentations 4:21, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. Because the cup also shall pass over to thee. It's good for you to rejoice now, because this place is going to be destroyed. So enjoy your labors. Your wicked labors, man. You know, all the robbing, stealing, and killing. Drink wine. Go to parties. Party it up. Go to the basketball game. Go watch the Patriots. You know. Go watch the Patriots beat the Bills, man. Go do all of that shit. Because this, after, when the Lord comes, all this is going to be destroyed. Okay, then you're going into slavery. All right. 2 Edges 15 and verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that God shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with the fearful constellations of the thermonuclear missiles. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. Modern day swords, the gun. That's talking about civil unrest. That's talking about civil war. That's talking about one people fighting against another for stupid shit. Even on a smaller scale or individual scale, you're gonna, people that are in your direct proximity, man, they're gonna be a problem. You're gonna have to fight. Okay? And we hope that the Lord just delivers us through anything we have to go through. I don't have in my head that I ain't gonna have to break something, man. Nah, man, I'm thinking the Lord's gonna give me the W whatever it is. You know? You might have to get bloody with some of these people, man. You know, you just hope they might just get bloody with you. You hope that you get the upper hand. If that's the case, some of us, we might not have to see that. But really wrapping your mind around a time that this place has never seen, it's hard to really wrap your mind around it. You know, some things that I see, you might have to do some things that you never thought or seen yourself do. One of them is like defending yourself, man. Protecting yourself. Talks about Isaiah 4:1 with the women too. You know, you're supposed to be the man of, man shall be more precious than fine gold. So who knows what, you know, your shoes, you look at movies like The Road, you look at movies like The Book of Eli, you know, the Lord was dealing with it, people were shooting at him. You know, some people are blind, some people are crippled, some people got way worse than you, man. The Lord gonna deliver them too, if they're part of the elect. Okay? 2nd Esdras chapter 15, you know, that's just food for thought. It says, from the fear of the Lord we persuade men. We hope, whatever it is, man, the Lord deliver us. Okay? Not have a weak-ass spirit on us in these last days, man. 2nd Esdras chapter 2 verse, 2nd Esdras 15 verse 14 again. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Woe means death and destruction. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh. The sword comes in a multitude of wars. It comes in a multitude of just the modern day gun is a sword, you know, and whatever these robots he got out here, those are going to be used as a sword. Any killing instrument can be used as a sword, and it's drawing nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay, sedition, you go into that, it's going to inciting some type of rebellion against the government. Okay, but even some of these judges, man, you're coming up against them, that's a form of sedition. You're burning their houses up like that to the point that it explodes. And that's not the first one. There's politicians. These are your kings and your princes. Okay, your politicians, your presidents, your governors, your mayors, you know, even to the heads of departments, you know, anyone that has some form of authority above you when it comes to supporting the law, they're not going to regard that. Okay, they're not going to regard that. They're going to take matters into their own hands at that time. Okay, 2nd Esdras 15 verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So that's the time where you're gonna be restricted. Probably won't even be able to fly out like you want to. Okay, you're gonna need some type of clearance to go places, man. You know, going into 15-minute cities. Everything you're gonna need is gonna be within 15 minutes, which is about a 15-mile radius, which is short. That's how he built these cities. There's no need to go to this side or over there. I wouldn't be surprised if your algorithm is restricted to your area too, because they're already trying to do something with TikTok and put a whole new algorithm out there. And everything is to fulfill prophecy. Okay? He don't want you knowing what's going on in Gaza. He don't want you knowing what's going on in these other cities, because he's being exposed. 2nd Esdras 15 and 18, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And we just saw a house being destroyed. Okay? Being blown up to smithereens with explosives. Salaki and Malak. Isaiah 19 verse 12, where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh of hosts have purposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. Yeah, that goes into Memphis. And they also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. That's right. And you see that, you know, especially with those not just his councils and his government and all that. He's causing everything to err, but even in his technology. Everything that he's created was created to be destroyed, even like those Boeing planes. Isaiah 19 verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And we're seeing that there's still a government shutdown right now. You know, people are losing their jobs. There was 40 jobs that were gonna be closed in LA or something, 40 Starbucks or something like that. You know, I was talking to a small hat yesterday, and she was telling me how she hates the duck too, which is kind of funny to me. But she was saying that people look at the stock market as like that shows the life of the nation, like it shows that we're doing good. But that's not what the stock market is for. Stock market is to show you know, the shareholders and that they're invested in those companies. That's what that is. But a good indicator of the growth is the GDP, okay, and people spending their money. But if you're losing jobs and people are not spending their money, then that's a sign of a decline, okay? I'm trying to explain it to the best of my ability. But that's a sign of a decline when people are not working, people are not spending money, the economy's not growing. And we can see that clearly. So every time you hear a job, someone's not working, that's a decline. Every time they hear, you know, even a small store like a Starbucks, which is a major store, which is super important. If you have a Starbucks in your community, that raises the property value of homes in that area. So imagine you move to Calabasas, California, because there was a Starbucks there, and now the Starbucks is gone, but you pay top dollar for that place. If you try to sell your house, you're not going to get market price, the same market price that you bought it for, even though everything's highly inflated. And no one can afford a house anyways. Isaiah 19 verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt. And that's another thing. How you going to work for something? You're not going to be able to maintain anything if everyone's losing their jobs, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. In that day shall Egypt be like unto woman, and shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Yeah, you shaking your hand over this place. You shake something, you know, it's like you're threatening it, okay? When you shaking the hand over this place, it's like, I'm gonna get you, man. Like, I'm gonna get you. And you shaking your hand like, that's what the Lord, yeah, I'm gonna get you, Esau. Wisdom of Solomon 5 verse 20. His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Ooh, that's beautiful, man. Wisdom of Solomon. His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 21. Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds as from a well-drawn bow shall they fly to the mark. Ooh. That's those thermonuclear missiles. And hailstones full of wrath shall be cast as out of a stone bow, and the water of the sea shall rage against them, and the flood shall cruelly drown them. Yea, a mighty wind shall stand up against them, and like a storm shall blow them away. Thus iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth, and ill dealing shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty. That's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Ultimate destruction. Poetic. That was a gorgeous, beautiful precept. What's this? Joshua 23 and 10. One man of you shall chase 1,000. For the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, your God, he it is that fighteth for you as he have promised you. That's right, man. We don't even got to fight. We don't even got to fight, man. Ultimately, the Lord's going to fight for us, and we got to hold our peace, man. We got to hold our peace. You know, going into Romans, the 13th chapter, man, the Lord set this up the way it is to fulfill prophecy, ultimately, okay? We're not here to gather arms and come up against them. And that's another doctrine, man, that'll get you put to death. Not following Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You got to be firm in this truth. That's that wisdom and knowledge being making you stable. Okay? Because logically, I understand why I would think the same thing. Shit, if I'm going to die, all this shit's going to happen. Why would I just sit here and wait for something I don't see? That's why you got to trust in the Lord. The Lord gives you the spirit, man. Because carnally minded, that don't make any sense. It don't make any sense that you're wishing and hoping on something you don't even see. That's why we just reading these scriptures, it should comfort you to know that it got to be the Lord that's bringing this. Who can come up with these sayings like that, man? Shakespeare ain't got nothing on the Lord, man. Okay, grab a couple more precepts. 2 Esdras 15, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's talking about Jacob's trouble. For the lack of bread, man. Okay? Lack of bread, lack of food. They're gonna spoil you, take your goods. 2 Esdras 15 and 20. Behold, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, in Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. That's right, man. That's what he's doing. He's going to turn these kings against each other, going into the valley of Jehoshaphat. That's where they're going to meet up. That's where they're going to be destroyed. Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also in recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. That's like Malak was saying here in Joshua 23 and 10. Okay. Psalms 58 verse 10. The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. That's right. When we're standing in those chariots, looking down, watching you get trampled underfoot. Psalms 58 and 11. So that a man shall say, verily there is a reward for the righteous. Verily he is a God that judgeth in the earth. That's right, man. That's right, man. When we see it, he's going to show it to us, man. You shall see it with your own eyes. I told you. And we're going to be like, damn, he really did it the same way he said he was going to do it. Okay. Grab a couple more. 2 Esdras 15 and 22. My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not seize over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. That's Yahweh Shai. That's his right hand. Okay, he's not going to spare the sinners. And that, not just Esau, that's 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Sin is the transgression of the law. 1 John 3 and 4. We read Judges 5 and 11. To be delivered from the noise of the archers, practicing the righteous acts. Then we're going to go to the gates of the nobles. Okay? 2 Esdras 15 and 23, the fire is gone forth from his wrath, and have consumed the foundations of the earth and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power, defile not my sanctuary. And I'm going to end it right there. The Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash, Shalom, Baba Bal, Kwam Yasharala. The water for the precepts, Malak, Shalom, have a blessed